The worst thing that could happen to you is accidentally seeing a cursed video that potentially has black magic and that will haunt you forever. I'm just saying that once you see one of these videos that are meant to harm people, well, there is no coming back. And this is exactly what happened in the story that I'm about to tell y'all. So we know what to do. Save this video and come back to it at night so it's more enjoyable like that. You see, it all started when two girls were at school together, okay? So basically a girl and her friend were basically chilling here. We know they were just talking to each other about some random stuff, but then her friend started talking about a cursed video that you should not watch. He basically told her, look, there is a video, a cursed video that you should not watch, okay? Because if you watch it, a scary creature will come and try to you. Obviously, the girl didn't believe her. She was like, oh my god, bro, here we go again. Bro, you made this up in like the past 20 seconds. I'm not believing it. You can call me a liar if you want to, okay? I'm not joking. I'm here to warn you. Do not watch that video. Okay, look, you're talking too much. Can you please show it to me so, you know, I'm aware? I do not click on it once I see it. So her friend was basically like, yeah, sure. You see this right here? Do not watch it, okay? I'm warning you. So now, the girl basically came closer to look. She was like, bro, did you see the thumbnail? What made you think that I will watch that for real? This is scary. I'm not watching that. Now get out. Yeah, we're watching that shit tonight. So her friend was basically like, yeah, that's my girl right here. You see, that's why we're friends. We listen to each other, right? Yeah, girl, come on, you know me. I'm not. What the hell is this anyway? Nah, it's not. Now, once the girl made it home, she didn't listen to her friend. She immediately went to look for the video and she started watching it. And while watching it, she actually noticed two things. The first thing is there is a wild background sound, okay? She couldn't figure what the hell was that, but there is a loud sound. You know how these weird sounds be, right? Like loud sounds mashed on top of each other, reversed, you know, things like yeah, something like that. Second thing that she noticed was the language, okay? She couldn't understand or even figure what the hell was that. Because according to her, it sounded like Hindu mixed with Chinese, something like that, but she wasn't sure. Anyway, she watched the whole video, and when she finished it, she was like, okay, did I not understand a single thing? Yes. Was it one of the weirdest videos in my life? Yes. Is it scary? No. You know, just in case, she started looking around her to see if her friend telling the truth about the creature, and you know, she started looking around her, not a single thing in sight. This is where she was basically like, okay, that friend right here is a liar. I'm going back to sleep. And yes, just like that, she went to sleep in her little room, comfy bed, you know, just sleeping. But not for too long, because at 3 a.m. she heard something. She heard was basically laughing and giggling sound coming from the opposite side of the room. Once she opened her eyes, she saw it. Well, she couldn't tell how this thing exactly looked like because the girl didn't have her glasses, but this thing right here started talking, and this is what he said. Basically said, while pointing to the girl, you're gonna, you're gonna, I'm gonna, you. Damn, bro wasted no time, made it clear, straight to the point. But you see, on the other side, the girl was scared. She was scared for her life. She was stressing, calling for help. She was basically calling her mom. Oh yeah, the girl was basically screaming mom until her mom came and this thing right here disappeared. I just say disappear? Well, not really, because let me tell you that this thing right here never disappeared. You see this story right here? It happened in 2018. See, what I'm trying to say is, the girl right here grew up, okay? This story is like, what, 7 years old? Well, let me tell you that sometimes she still see him. Just like I told you, believe it or not, if you see the video, there is no coming back. You're being haunted forever.
Okay, you wanted a story time, so here is your story time. So me and my kid's dad, like we have shared custody, like he keeps her on the weekends, I have her during the week, whatever. He's been dating this girl for about a year now, a year and a half. And so I know anybody that knows my baby dad knows that he's still like madly in love with me. Like it's no secret. I have no desire to get back together with him, whatever. But so this new girlfriend, Debbie, she has like always felt some sort of way about me. I've like went out of my way to like try to make her feel comfortable and secure that like I don't want him. Like, girl, that is your man now. You can claim him, you can keep him. Anyways, so this bitch already hates me. Yesterday, my 5-year-old came home from their house and she told me that Debbie's daughter had been basically essaying her. Touching her inappropriately, and she was afraid to tell her dad because they all live in the same house together. So I immediately texted her dad and I was like, you know what, like, I'm just done with all this. Like, this girl's messy, her kids are messy, I don't want my daughter around her, I don't want my daughter around her kid. Like, if you want to keep taking her on the weekends, like, you can, but like you need to bring her like to your grandparents' house to do your visitation. And he starts freaking out, she starts freaking out. She was in the car with him, so I could hear. And then he's texting me and he's like, you need to come downstairs and talk to us, like we need to talk about this and blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't need to talk to her. Like, there is no reason for me to talk to her. I have nothing to say to her. Like, this is something that is between me and you, because we are the parents. Like, it is our child, the one that is being essayed. So then he keeps texting me, he keeps telling me to come downstairs, and then finally he's like, Sarah, if you don't come downstairs, Debbie's gonna smash out your car windows. So I'm super pissed. Like, one of my friends was upstairs, like at home with me, with my kids at this time. So like, I grabbed my keys, I grabbed my phone, I started walking out of my apartment door. And as I was walking out, like, I was already on the phone with the police, telling them, I'm like, yo, some crazy bitch is trying to smash out my fucking windshield. As I'm on the phone with them and I'm giving them the address, like, I'm walking down the hallway and she's rounding the corner. She don't even say shit to me. Didn't even say shit. She literally just ran up on me and just started wailing on my face with a fucking Stanley. With the fucking Stanley, bro. Fucking Stanley. I can't fight at all. I am not a fighter. I am a lover. I don't like to fight. So my ass just basically just crippled down on the ground, covered my head, and just started screaming, help, 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 help me. Finally my friend heard me and he came running out of the apartment. She ran off. He tried to help me and I was like, fuck me, go get that bitch. So he chased after her, whatever. I ran downstairs. My whole face is just like gushing blood at this point. Like, I probably look deranged. Like, my clothes are fucked. Like, they're covered in blood. Yeah, so then I run outside. He is like driving towards the exit of the parking lot, like with her in the car. Oh, and by the way, she took my phone and she took my car keys, and I have like a Lulu lanyard, so it had like my ID, my debit card, my credit card, I had cash in there, all that shit. She took that with her. He's driving by, he turns back and he looks at me, and that motherfucker looked like he saw a ghost, because I don't think he knew that like she was about to beat my ass. So as he's trying to leave, the cops are like coming in, like into the apartment building. He hopped a curb to try to get away from her, and the cop is still just standing there, and I'm like running at him. I probably looked insane, because I was like, that's them, get him. And he didn't follow them, and then he gets out of the car. I'm like, why aren't you following them? They're right there. And he's like, I don't know. I'm sorry, ma'am. When a woman comes running towards me, screaming, with blood all over her face, I'm a little bit more concerned about her than I am with the other people. Anyways, they ended up catching them. She is getting charged with aggravated robbery in the first degree and interfering with a 911 call. He is getting charged with fleeing in a motor vehicle and aiding and abetting, like, after a crime or something. I have a broken nose and a concussion. I thankfully did not have to get any stitches. They just like glued me together down there. But yeah, that's the story. It's always something.
Don't ever forget that walking away from something so toxic and so unhealthy is so brave, even if you stumble on your way out.
There was this time that I was taking a midnight flight home, and the second I boarded the plane, I just knocked out because I was so tired. I woke up thinking that I took a really quick nap, but then the cabin lights were on, and I thought that they were serving us dinner, but then the flight attendants were giving us cookies, which is weird because it's supposed to be dinner time. And when I checked my phone, it had been 3 hours since we boarded the plane, and apparently, we're still on the ground. We're supposed to be over the ocean by now. But then I kept hearing this weird noise from the plane, probably from the engine or something, and, that didn't sound too good. But eventually they announced that our flight would be canceled and that Philippine Airlines would give us free accommodation and food and will reschedule us for the next available flight, which would be at midnight. So because the flight was canceled and I was all alone, I was kind of scared, so I decided to make a little group, a little gang, okay? Just to make sure that I wouldn't miss the next flight, okay? I was really trying to find people my age so that I could make some friends, but apparently most people were traveling with their families. So I eventually make a group, and it consisted of me, the Lola, the old lady who sat next to me on the plane, and then a family of 4. So there were 6 of us. The Lola who was sitting next to me on the plane, she's like 80 years old and she was traveling alone. So the whole time I just stayed with her and I just helped her with everything just to make things easier for her. Okay, now it's 6 a.m. and we're in line waiting for the airlines to give us our hotel assignments. And this whole time, Lola just assumed that me and her would be roomies, which I understand because, you know, she's old and alone and she's probably scared and she doesn't know what to do. But at the same time, I was considering my safety. She is a stranger, and I've heard so many horror stories at the airport of people helping others, especially elders, and then things just go bad, okay? And it turns out to be something like drug related. So I got scared and I'm calling my dad and he's telling me to not share a room with her and that I need to get my own room. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Okay, I'll figure it out. But I still felt bad because she is old and she does need help. And even though I couldn't share a room with her, I still wanted to make sure that she would be okay. So I asked the other family in our little group if it was okay if Lola stayed with them. And they were like, yeah, sure, no problem. So thank God for them. Anyways, I managed to get our rooms right next to each other at the hotel just in case we needed to like contact each other if we knew any updates regarding our flight. So we get to the hotel at 8 a.m. and we're just there for the whole day. And we are surviving off of whatever we have in our freaking carry-on bags because we left our checked bags at the airport. So we were there for about a good 12 hours and we make our way back to the airport around 8 p.m. So we get to the airport and everyone else from the flight the other night is there again and it's just really crowded. And as we're in line to get our new boarding passes, this lady from our flight who's talking really, really loud and she's telling people that she is not getting on this new flight because she feels that there is something wrong and that something bad is going to happen like last night. And everyone around was just looking at her like, what the heck is going on? What the heck is she on, having caused a commotion in the middle of the airport? What does she mean? What is she talking about? You know how at the airport, when you make a joke about a bomb, they are going to put you in handcuffs and escort you out of the airport? That is what they should have done to this woman, okay? Because the amount of fear that she instilled in all of us was overwhelming. Even I was scared, okay? I was on the verge of having a panic attack. I was taking deep breaths and praying to God, please let me get home safe and sound in one piece. I'm not gonna care about what this lady says. And then it's midnight and we still haven't boarded the flight. Time passes and it's already 3 a.m. and I'm about to spiral because I'm letting that woman from earlier, I'm letting her voice get into my head. Because what is wrong? Why have we not boarded yet? What is wrong with this plane? But then like a few minutes later, they announced that we could start boarding. So thank God. So we finally board this plane and me and Lola are seated next to each other again. And she tells me to ask one of our other friends for Tylenol. So I walk to the front of the plane and I get the Tylenol. This time around, I made sure that I was not gonna fall asleep until I knew that this plane was up in the sky. So we finally take off, we get served our dinner, and I was able to sleep like a baby for 6 hours. So when I wake up from my 6 hours of sleep, Lola is just looking at me and I'm just smiling back at her awkwardly. And she's like, oh, buti ka pa, like good for you. You were able to sleep for a really long time. And I asked her if she was able to sleep and she was like, no, I've been up this whole time. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, just close your eyes. I even offered to help her with her headphones and like set up the little TV on the plane so that she could watch a movie and potentially fall asleep. But she said no. So I get up to go to the bathroom and when I come back to my seat, Lola looks so frantic. She tells me to get a cup of water for her. So I do that. And when I come back to my seat again, she is clenching her chest and she's breathing heavily. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And she's telling me that her chest hurts. So now I'm all frantic and I managed to get one of the flight attendants over. And I'm telling them like, Lola said that her chest hurts. And the flight attendant is asking Lola if they should ask for any medical professionals on board. And Lola's like, no, I think I'll be okay. And then a guy sitting across from me leans over and asks Lola if she takes any maintenance meds. And Lola's like, yeah, I do, but I haven't taken it in the past 24 hours because they're in my checked bag. And then I'm like, whoa, hold up. If she had told me that, I would have done something earlier, okay? I would have asked the airlines to get her bag and get her medicine. She did not tell me that. And she tells this guy that all she took recently was a Tylenol. This guy looks at me and he's like, she should not have put her medicine in the checked bag. And I'm like, I know. And then he says, she also shouldn't have taken the Tylenol. And I'm like, yeah, she shouldn't have taken the Tylenol. And I got so scared because I gave her the Tylenol. But then again, she asked for it, but still. And what if that was the reason for her chest pain? I was just so scared. And then Lola kept asking me how many more hours until we landed. I'm like, 6. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. Are you gonna be okay? She's like, I'm just gonna try to sleep. And I'm like, okay, you go do that. With 6 hours left on this flight, I was tripping, okay? Because what if we needed to do an emergency landing? Where would we land? We're literally in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, okay? Where? And then that lady from the airport who's like, oh, something bad's gonna happen, And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Anyways, Lola wasn't able to sleep the entire flight, but we did make it home safe and sound. So, moral of the story, keep your medicine in your carry-on bags. Maybe bring some sleeping pills with you if you go on a long-haul flight. And pray. Yeah.
At night, I got a girl's number.
You asked for her number.
I got her number, yes.
I'm sick right now.
I have a funny story that happened to me at EDC this past year. And if you don't know EDC, it's like a concert rave. And me and my siblings get artist passes every year. So this year, it was backstage stuff. Because usually the artist tickets are in the front behind the certain railing. But this year they changed it and it was backstage behind the DJ. So I was at this one stage with my sister and my friend Tala, Serene and Tala. And we were at this stage having fun, okay, at Kinetic Field. And you know, the stages are like Kinetic Field, Neon Garden, and Circuit Ground. And they're all like really far from each other, but those are the main stages. So we're at Kinetic Field. We're having fun, blah, 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 blah. I tell Tala and Serene, I'm like, I need to go pee. They're like, don't go pee. The guy's being annoying. He's not going to let you back in because they kept saying like only a certain amount of people can be entering the backstage because it's over capacity and the stage is getting like too heavy on the stage. So they're like, don't go. And I was like, no, I need to go. I need to pee. It's fine. Like, they'll let me back in. I go pee. I come back, and it was a security guard, and he was so mean. He was like, no one's coming back in here. It's at capacity. You have to wait for people to leave. And I was like, oh my God, you just saw me. I just went to the bathroom. Like, please let me in. He's like, no, ma'am, you cannot come in. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I see Tala and Serene, and they're like, just come in. And I was like, guys, I can't. And they're like, okay, like, just wait. And they go back in. And I'm waiting. So many things happened as I was waiting. I saw 2 groups of friends that I should have went with and I didn't. They were like, Sabby, come with us 2 different times, or come with us to other stages. And I said no, because I thought surely my sister and my friends will come out and they'll go to another stage with me. They never came out. Anyway, I ended up walking so much. I was alone for an hour and a half. I walked back and forth from the stages trying to find other friends that I knew, and there was no signal. I ended up going back to Kinetic where Tala and Serene were, and I go back to that security guard. And I was like, can you please, I was about to cry. I was like, so just like upset. I was like, can you please just let me in? I just want to be with my friends and my sister. Please let me in. He's like, you're starting to annoy me. You're not coming in. It's at capacity. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? He's like, try going in from the other side of the stage. On the side stage, there's another security guard there. Try entering from there. And I was like, okay, fine. So I go over there and I tell the guy, and I'm like, the guy over there told me to enter from here. And he's like, I don't know who you talk to, but you're not allowed to enter from here. And I was like, what? He just told me to come over here and enter from here. He's like, nope, nobody's being allowed to enter from here. I was like, oh my gosh. So I go back to that guy. And I was like, you just told me to go on the other side and enter from there. But he said, no, he's not letting me enter from there. And he's like, not really. Did he tell you that? And I was like, yeah, that's what he told me, I swear. He's like, now, I want you to go back over there, Tim. Is he a bald? Okay, so the guy I was talking to was a big black, bald fat guy. Like, he was like a really big fat guy, bald and black. Okay, this is important because this is what he told me to say. He was like, was the guy who talked to you a black bald man? And he was like more lean. The guy that on the side stage, he was more lean, and he had like an army vest on and everything. And I was like, yeah, he was. He's like, you go back to that bald black man and you tell him exactly this. This is exactly what you tell him. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. He's like, you tell him that the big black bald man over here is telling you to tell the black bald man over there to let you in. And I was like, okay. He's like, but you have to say it exactly like that. And I was like, okay. So I go back over there, and guys, I was like gonna cry. Like, I was not happy. I was so just like over it. I go back to the guy, and I was like, I swear The guy over there, the security guard over there, he just told me right now, he told me exactly to say this. He said for me to say that the big black, bald, fat black man, or whatever, the big black, bald man is telling me to tell the black, bald man to let me in from here. And he's like, now really, did he say that to you? And I was like, yeah, I swear he told me to say that. I swear. He's like, now you go back over there to that bald, black, fat man, and you tell him that the black bald man over here is saying nobody can enter from here. So no. And I was like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, are you kidding? And he's like, yeah, you go back and you tell him that. You tell him exactly that. And I was like, okay, I go back. And I said, he told me to tell the big, black, fat, bald man that the black, bald man said that he won't let me in from there. And he was like, now really, did he say that? And I was like, yes, he did. He did say that. He's like, now I want you to go back to him over there and tell him that the big, black, fat, bald man is the one that's in charge over here and that he's going to let you in from over there. Now you go back and tell him that. Go back. And I was like, oh my God, like, I was like, he's not going to let me in. He's like, no, trust me. He's going to let you in this time. Go back and tell him that. I was like, okay. I go back to the other guy. I was like, the big, black, bald, black, fat man is telling me that he said he's the one in charge and that you have to let me in. He's like, now really, did he say that? Who's the one in an army suit over here? Who's the one in a vest over here? Is that guy in a vest over there? He's not. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I don't know who's in charge. I don't know. I just want to go see my friends. I was like, please, I just want to see my friends. He's like, okay, you can come in. We're just joking with you. You can come in. I was like, what? He started cracking up. He was cracking up. And I was like, oh my God. And I was about to cry. I was like, that's so funny. That's so funny. And I went in and I saw Tala and Serene. And I was like, you guys, like, you don't know what just happened to me. And they're like, yes, Sunny, you're here. Where were you? Where were you? I was like, you guys just don't know what just happened to me. So yeah, that was a fun story to think about. And later I ended up telling Tala and Serene this story. And then at the end of the night, it was like 6 a.m. We're about to leave. And then the two guys were standing together at the like exit. And then Tala goes up to them and she's like, you guys were passing my friends around like a blunt. And they were like, what? We were not passing around like a blunt. No, we weren't. And I was like, yeah, you guys were. You guys were passing me. You guys were passing me around like a blunt. And they were like cracking up. Because they knew. They were doing it on purpose. They were cracking up. But then they became our friends. And then the rest of the weekend, they were like so nice to us. They let us in everywhere.
Guys, I've been unintentionally gatekeeping this story, and now it's time. About a month ago, I went on a first date with a man I had met on Hinge. We'd been talking for like almost a month before we went on this first date. On our first date, he told me he had been separated for 2 years and divorced for 2 months, which felt a little quick to me. Yeah. I shared with him that I had been recently love bombed and that I was like really trying to slow things down on the dating front and take things really slow because I learned my lesson. Right after the first date, next day, he immediately asked me on a second date. I'm like, no, don't want to move too quickly. Ask me on a date for the next day. No, don't want to move too quickly. Tuesday comes around. He's like, do you want to go on a date tomorrow? Meaning Wednesday. I was like, look at you planning in advance. Let's do it. I said yes to Wednesday. I had plans that Tuesday night to go over to a friend's house for a going away party. And he texted me and was like, hey, I can't wait until tomorrow to see you. Do you want to just grab quick drinks before your going away party? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So we go out to drinks at this awesome spot in DC. And while we're sitting there, we're having normal conversation. And I'm joking about the fact that he is 36 because I always find myself dating people in the age range 34 to 36. It's just like my sweet spot. And he's like, well, actually, I have to tell you something. I'm actually 39. My age is wrong on my Hinge. And I was like, do you think I'm stupid? If you got divorced 2 months ago and that's when you made your Hinge, you were lying. If you made it back when you were 36, you were cheating on your wife. So what? Also, I'm pretty sure your Hinge updates every year, like as you get older. Like I'm pretty sure it changes by itself. So I was like, what the fuck? That's so weird of you. I literally demanded he show me his physical ID because I thought that was so weird. And I was really creeped out. And honestly, I should have been out then. So I see his ID, he's actually 39, and I say to him, this is so weird of you. There's no good time when you're dating girls on Hinge to tell them that you're not the age you put on your profile. Like, you could tell them in that first message, or you could tell them, like, when on your wedding day, and no matter what, that's fucking weird of you. Like, that's never gonna be a normal conversation that girls are just okay with. Like, just make it your regular age. Obviously, you're trying to show up on Hinge for, like, young women who you can whatever. Anyway, so we finish drinks, we kiss, it's a good time. He goes home. I go to my friend's going away party and I pose a question to the group. I'm like, hey, he lied to me about his age. It feels kind of sus. What does everyone think? My best friend, who was right, is like, get out of that situation. That is freaky, girl. But all my other friends at the party were kind of like, oh, you're just collecting data. Like, that's a first data point. Like, yes, that's concerning, but why don't you collect more data and see how you feel about the guy? Because at the time, I really liked him. We had great chemistry. He was super attractive. Like, we just vibed. But also, like, maybe part of that vibe and part of why that was exciting is because I could sense, like, something was off, or, like, we had that chemistry because, like, there was that excitement and spark. But like a lot of the time, like good, healthy relationships start like more of a slow burn, or like with a friendship. Like I should have known that that spark was indicative of like, there's something wrong here. So now it's Wednesday, it's time for our pre-planned date. And the first 2 dates he had come into DC for me. He lives in Maryland. So I said, hey, I'd be happy to come out to Maryland for you. I feel badly that you're always coming to DC. And he was like, well, you don't have a car. And I was like, I have a Metro card. And have you ever heard of that Uber, or do 36-year-olds not know about Uber? He was like, oh, I have a surprise for you. Be ready at 7. Me, having watched every fucking rom-com, was like, this is so cute and romantic. I'm so excited. Dumb, dumb, dumb. So he comes, he picks me up in his car. I'm like, wow, this is like a real date. He's picking me up, he's driving me to the place, and it's all a surprise. I don't even know where we're going. He takes me to this restaurant in DC called Mercy Me. Food was incredible. And I'm like, thank you so much for dinner. Like, was this a surprise? And he's like, no, I have one more surprise. This man proceeds to say, oh, I have to work in Arlington tomorrow. So I decided to spend the night in DC so I don't have to schlep all the way from Maryland to Arlington for work at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Spending the night in DC, got a hotel room. But what he didn't do was ask me to stay over with him. Like, he's that good. Like, he didn't ever explicitly ask that. He made me think it was my decision. So dinner ends, we like go to a bar, we grab a couple of drinks. I'm not even drinking. I'm literally like dead sober and I made these decisions. But we walk out of the restaurant, he's like, do you want me to drive you home or do you want to come up to my hotel room? And I was like, I could use a hotel room tour. I go, hotel room tour, one thing leads to another. Take that as you will. Probably wasn't my best call. Anyway, I wake up in the morning at my own house. I'm on a high. I'm like, last night was so amazing. He's texting me. I'm like, we're getting married. But then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking really hard about it. And where he lives in Maryland is like 30 minutes from me. And Arlington is like 20 minutes from me. And I don't understand logically why someone would get a hotel in the city to not have to drive an extra 20 minutes in the morning. Something's not adding up. My spidey senses, something was wrong. My gut, women's intuition, something was off. I start thinking, I offered to come to his. He lives in his own house. I, live in a house with 3 roommates. The only reason I wouldn't want someone to come to my house would be if I was still living with my wife. So that activates the crazy in me. And I go to the internet and I pay for a background check, $25. Highly recommend doing that. Honestly, do it before your first dates. I should have done it way, way back. And I find every single thing about this man, right? Like his entire family, every address he's lived in since his college dorm, every traffic citation he's ever gotten, every piece of dirt on this man. And you know what isn't there? Divorce papers. So I start freaking out. I'm like, why are there no divorce papers? Could they be sealed? Like, are divorce papers even public record? I've never been divorced. I call the Maryland County court system and I ask them, hi, do you have any divorce records under his name and his wife's maiden name? They don't have any. I say, can you tell me if there's a sealed record under either of their names? They say, yes, we can tell you if there's a record, but we can't tell you what's in it. I said, awesome. Do you have records under either of these names? No records in the state of Maryland. I contact my family friend who's a lawyer. I say, hey, do you have to get divorced in the state where you're living? And they said, yeah, you have to get divorced in the state where either you or your partner is living. And I had both their names on the lease of their home address from my background check. I knew they both lived in the state of Maryland since 2012. If they had gotten a divorce, it would be in the Maryland court system. So I'm realizing this man is married. So what do? I go on Facebook and I post in the Are We Dating the Same Guy DC Facebook group. I say, hey, this is Danny. And I include a picture of him. I say, he lied about me to his age. Something feels sus. I tell the whole hotel story and ask anyone if they know anything. Within an hour, my post is blown up. Hundreds of women commenting how sus the hotel thing is and that it's happened to them before. He's definitely married and cheating. A couple hours later, a comment comes in. Hi, I'm the wife. Call me. I'm so sorry to do this, but I have to do a part 2. Come to part 2 to find out what the wife says.